All right, how you doing today? Today we're taking a look at Addictive Drums 2, 2.5 with a Logic Drummer. Some really cool stuff you can do with this, manipulate your sounds even further. There's a lot of drummers and sounds in Logic, but this is really cool as well. I just got this a couple days ago. I figured I'd make a video on it. Now this is not a versus video. I'll do one of those later. This drummer versus that drummer per se, but this is just going to be today using it with the Logic Pro's drummer feature, and it's very simple to use actually, and you can get a lot more cooler sounds very quickly. In some ways the Addictive Drums 2 is very intuitive as opposed to the drum designer and stuff in Logic and all that mixer stuff. But anyways, let's just check this out. You can buy the kits separately with Addictive Drums 2. Now I went a little crazy and I bought 13 different drum kits, but you could pick and choose. They have all kind of different ones that you can get. This one sounds awesome here, and you can mix and match them very easily too, which is really cool, and we get some really cool sounds. Anyways, I'll just shut up and get into this, so you'll see it in a second here. So let's go into Logic here. So what I did is I just created a bass track here using the session players and a drummer track using the Logic Drummer. As you would go over here, create drummer track, and so on. And then I just copied the data, which is the MIDI data or the drummer track data, down to a new track here. You just hit Option and drag, and you can drop it down there if you will. And then we can control Addictive Drums with the session player drummer. Now, really quick to do this, you go into here, mini map. I wish more companies would do this, like Easy Drummer and stuff like that. But we go to other plugins and we just hit the Logic Drum Kit Designer here as our mini map. So it's already mapped into the Logic. It'll play the way Logic is mapped out, per se, if you will. So anyways, let's check this out. So this is the Logic Drummer with the 60s drummer, drum kit, beat, and so on. And then we have it playing through the Addictive Drums. Now, of course, in Logic, you could change the drummer sounds and all that stuff. We're not going to go into that today, but we'll just go into the Addictive Drum stuff here. So I got Addictive Drums already set up with the mini map and everything, and I have all these different kits that I purchased, and there's demos of all the ones in here too, which is cool. They have, like I have the Funk kit here loaded right now. You could demo each kit. So we'll load that patch up per se. Now, even the ones that you don't own, you can demo. And there's another trick I'll show you in a second here, where you can actually use the mixing settings of that drum kit. If you don't own the samples, you could just load different samples in. It's pretty cool. So anyways, let's check this out. So let's play the bass in the drum part here using the Addictive Drums. And I'm just going through some of the different presets here. The same kit mixed with different mix settings. We have our toms here, and we have a mixer down here. We have the overheads, we have the room, we have a drum bus, and we also have sound effects, and then we have the master. And we can stack drums together here. I'll show you in a different kit. This one doesn't have a stack, but there's a cowbell here. And let's go back to the drummer track here, and we can manipulate the drum track. Let's check out some other sets here. And we can make our own presets really quickly too. Now, they do have some experimental kits in here. It's all acoustic sounds, or acoustic drums, but manipulated within the mixer here. some of the cool features in Addictive drums here is we have all these different effects. We got 2 send effects. We have the bus channel. We have the room mics. We have the overhead mics. And then we have individual channels here as well. And this is a multiple out instrument as well. You can do that within Logic and other DAWs. Right now I just have it in stereo. We come in here and manipulate the sounds even further. We take the kick drum here. We have the front head, the rare beater. You get on the snare, you can have this, the sizzle of the snare. Let's go to a more of acoustic kit here. So you can hear the snare bleed, the buzz. Or we can just turn it off altogether. And then we got some other things here like noise. You can add like that sizzle sound in here, vinyl sound. We got compression and distortion, we got EQ, we got tape saturation, and this is for every channel. You can come in here and just quickly maneuver stuff, if you will. Change the sound. Then we have ones for the room mics, overheads, and the drum bus, sound effects as well. And you have a lot of control and a very intuitive interface. And by the way, they have their own beat library in here as well. But again, we're not going into that today. We're just using this with the Logic. So we got the kits here, and we can change these sounds really quickly. Let's go here. And let's say I have this session percussion player here. I like this drum kit. Now we come into the kit pieces here, and I like the kick and snare, the hat and stuff, but let's just replace all these toms with something more acoustic. Well, these are acoustic, but more regular drums, I guess. So there you go. And then the snare here and the kick. We can link the snare and kick to different sounds. So when I hit the snare, it's going to hit the tambourine here as well. Back to our drummer here, put the hi-hat on. And then we could quickly save these kits, and they have some random names that you could give it. And then we could make a little recording of it if we want to as well, so we have a demo of it. So it's pretty cool, and that saves into your own user presets. And here's some other ones I've made. So the possibilities are pretty endless. This Vintage Dead collection has some really cool kits as well here. And of course, when you come in here to your drummer, say we want to change that pattern, turn off the change patch so we don't change anything. And let's go for a funky songwriter. So So very cool. Now, say we have a pack of drums, or let's say we come in here and we demo some of these kits that I don't own. Like I don't have the prog rock one or the retro plex. But let's say I like the mixer sound of this. I can select that kit. Now I don't have a license for this kit, so I'm just going to change these real quick. Let's change the toms here. We'll put on some toms I do own. We'll do the studio pop kit, for example. Then we'll load a bass drum in here, snare, hi-hat. Let's throw lots of tambourines. Let's find a tambourine sound. Let's throw that one in there for now with the hi-hat, cowbell. And we'll just load some cymbals. So now I'm just loading the mixer and I'm changing the sound. So this mixer here looks like it's like the snare, pretty much all the mics are off except for the kick and the overheads in the room and the bus and the flexi pads here, which is this and this. So let's see what that sounds like, and then we could change it even further. So really cool, and it's really quickly find a nice snare drum sound. Sometimes when I'm producing, I start off with one sound, and by the time you start adding under instruments, the snare drum just ain't cutting it anymore. Change the snare, pop it out like that, have a different pitch, some different settings on it, and we still have all this other stuff we can do to it if we need to. We got all these settings in here. We have pitch, we have pitch envelope, we have the volume envelope of the snare, we have how much room, how much goes to the room. In this case, we can even blend the snare in over here too with the fader. So really cool. I kind of like that kit, so I'll save that one. Let's give it a random name here. Save. Another kit I do have is an electronic kit, even though you can get the electronic sounds with the acoustic kits. Retro machines here. So you can, get your electronic sounds as well, hybrid sounds. Very cool. I mean, the fact that you can use it with the Logic Drummer so easily, and they have the mini map all ready to go. Sometimes this seems to me is a lot quicker for the mixing purposes and getting your sounds right than using the Logic Drummer, because you can come in here, you come in here and change your snare and everything, but there's limited features as opposed to what you can do with Addictive drums. But Logic Drummer is great. There's a lot of sounds in it. But let me know what you think. Just a quick tutorial demo, if you will, today. Do you have Addictive drums? If you're watching this, you probably have Logic. So I have Easy Drummer as well. I have a bunch of other drum programs. I'll probably do a more in-depth versus Logic Drummer versus Addictive drums in the future. Check the links in the below for that. Anyways, that is all for now. I will talk to you soon.